You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Good afternoon. I am Commissioner Hope Knight and I serve as chair, and I now call the meeting of the members of the New York Job Development Authority for Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. Before we get started, I'd like to ask everyone to please mute their audio until they're ready to speak. And I'd also like to note for the record that this meeting is being webcast. I'd also like to note that the public was given an opportunity to attend today's meeting and to provide comments on the agenda items. I'd like to state for the record that we do not have any members of the public in attendance today. In addition, the public was also given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments by 5 o'clock yesterday. And I'd like to state for the record that no written comments were received from the public regarding today's agenda. The members have received the written materials in advance of this meeting and are free to ask questions at any time during this presentation. I will now ask the members whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda. If so, I'd ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We will then make sure that you may recuse yourself from any discussion or vote with regard to such item or items. Any recusals? Hearing none, the first item on today's agenda is the approval of the minutes from the June 28th, 2023 members meeting. Are there any questions, comments, additions, or deletions related to the agenda? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. I will now like to call on Miyoko Okubo to present the next item on the agenda, which relates to the authorization to create a local development corporation to engage in eligible projects. Miyoko, you can go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you. The state has been asked to facilitate the financing or refinancing of one or more projects which would serve a public purpose or otherwise are eligible to be funded with tax-exempt bonds.
I'm sorry, could you speak up?
Sorry. The federal tax law imposes certain restrictions on the type of entities that can issue tax-exempt bonds. The New York Job Development Authority has the power set forth in the Not-for-Profit Corporation Law and the Public Authorities Law to create a local development corporations, LDCs, that comply with these federal restrictions and are also consistent with applicable state law. The eligible projects that the LDC could carry out include, but would not be limited to, any energy-related projects that the New York Power Authority will be permitted to carry out under state law, and projects involving the issuance of obligations to prepay the cost of future deliveries of gas, electricity, or renewable energy. The LDC will have two members, the governor and JDA. Each member will elect up to 3 directors, and 1 director elected from each member must be present for quorum. The structure that will be used by the LDC was previously validated by an IRS private letter ruling dated September 27, 2002. The members will sign a voting agreement which provides that at any meetings to remove an authority-appointed director, the authority will vote as instructed by the governor. This structure will ensure that only projects that the governor supports will be permitted, and it also comply with the private letter ruling described earlier, which found this structure in compliance with federal tax law. In conclusion, staff asked that the member authorize the creation of the LDC, which will be empowered, among other things, to issue obligations, including tax-exempt bonds or other fairly tax-advantaged obligations, to finance or refinance eligible projects. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the members related to this item?
I have a question, and that is, will all of the projects be backed by revenue? Are they essentially going to be revenue bonds? Or are some of them going to be general obligations of the state?
So I'm going
if I
to
may.
say yes.
Hi.
Ray Orlando, Chief Financial Officer. The transactions that are contemplated for this purpose are not general obligations of the state. They will likely be bonds issued on behalf of one or more entities which will engage in activities that are revenue generating, which will end up repaying the debt, largely based on energy transactions.
So the LDC and then ultimately the members, meaning JDA, don't have any liability?
None. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now call for a motion to this proposal.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. And there being no further business, may I now have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Motion?
Second.
Thank you for everyone for participation in this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.